I am doing well. I hope you're doing well. Do you have big plans this weekend? Anything fun going on? If you see me looking off over in this direction, it's because I have a big monitor over there that we use for watching movies and stuff. And if I do some stuff on down here, then that way I can monitor over here. But thanks for joining. But it's Saturday. How come are you working today? You only have Sunday and Mondays off? Um, my partner Mary only has Monday, Tuesdays off, but I think they're going to 4 days soon, which she's not too happy about. Just because her schedule's set like that. Oh, break room eating sushi. Dang. That's some good stuff. I oh, let me guess. It's not a big deal because you're working in a sushi restaurant. Well, I was going to do 4 people are on already. Wow. I actually waxed. Oh, cool. That's I love that. Waxing. Have you ever that's almost like a popping thing. People watch like popping videos, people popping stuff like zits and stuff. Those waxing videos are intense. Do you enjoy it? Do you enjoy people freaking out and screaming and when you're just ripping it off? I bet. I bet. Will Hudson, hello, sir. I bet it's satisfying. Will, thanks so much. We appreciate you. Bassett Trio checking in. Wow, everyone's here. I guess I've learned that when you need to set these live streams to public. Good to see you, Bassett Trio. I've been loving your videos. Your dogs are so cute. Pinky was just telling me about how she waxes people for a living and pulling out their hair. She's a dominatrix of sort, but in the cosmetic field. Isn't that right, Pinky? Good. That's great. What I don't want to dox you or anything, but what state are you in, just so I can get an idea of where everyone is. I've never really chatted with you for too long. State, city, area of the country. It's fine. I like to kind of know where people are from. You did the homemade biscuits. Florida. Woo! Yeah, Gator Girl. Awesome. Did you ever watch the show Claws, Pinky? With Niecy Nash? And Bassett Trio. Those oh, you haven't seen Claws? Girl. Yeah, Niecy from Reno 911 has her own show had her own show called Claws, Claws. And the whole premise is that she owns a salon and it takes place in Miami. And it is the most crazy show you've ever seen. I was hooked immediately. Yeah, you saw Bassett Trio saw Claws. Wasn't that the craziest show? Niecy Nash was so good. Yeah, Pinky, you need to watch some Claws. Holy cow. Living in Florida, so good. And it's like, it's based on, I was reading up even because once I watched that show, it hit me so hard how good and crazy it was. She's in a new show called Grotesquerie. Really good. Wow. Here we are talking about Niecy Nash. That's great. She's a delight and a talent, and I really appreciate everything she does. But long story short, quick here, Pinky and Claws, it immediately turns into like just crazy gangster crap everywhere. And like people are just getting killed and eating scrimps. It's great. I love it so much. There's so much great uh videography there. They're just great shots of Florida. They actually shoot it in Miami. Bastard Trio saying, oh, we're talking about okay. Horror show kind of reminds me of the movie Seven. So wait, it's a show or a movie? Typical Florida things. Yep. Yep. Typical Florida things indeed. And man, the characters on that show, they just nail crazy Florida so well. And okay, cool. So an episodic show with Niecy Nash and grotesquerie. I'm gonna tell Mary about that, and we're probably gonna be watching that tonight because she's too good. She's a detective trying to find a killer. Is it a comedy at all? Is it like a dark comedy or is it a comedy? Oh, so Niecy Nash playing it straight. Interesting. Is it kind of I sometimes that's hard for me because I keep waiting for jokes from funny people. But you know, it's like there's that Lifetime movie that Will Ferrell did. I don't know if you guys ever saw that. And Will Ferrell and that Kristen Wiig, I think, was in it too. And they played it completely straight, and it was like a murder. It was like a murder mystery, and same vibe. A really good serious role for her, right? She's a detective trying to find a killer. Yeah, I'm still in. I'll get over my problem with expecting her to be funny. Yeah. So you know those Lifetime movies that are all like cheesy and everyone's basically just rich, not worried about money. Everything's perfect. And then there's just some like little plot of like some type of murder or something, and then it gets solved. This one was kind of a babysitter becomes obsessed with Will Ferrell and then tries to kill him and then tries to kill the wife. Here, let me punch it up here. I can get you a name of it. Will Ferrell Lifetime movie. Yeah, it's called A Deadly Adoption. And man, oh man, Will Ferrell's got this amazing beard in it. Let me get the images here. And hey, let me know if you're not seeing my shared screen. I remember from my last live stream, no one was seeing this. But yeah, oh man, A Deadly Adoption with Will Ferrell and Kristen Wiig is worth a watch. Um, and I think there's been some other actors, like comedic actors, that have done just straight Lifetime movies just for the thrill of it. And it's just, I've had friends of mine that have worked on Lifetime movies, and they're so low budget and so just like cobbled together. Yeah, if you haven't seen A Deadly Adoption, I recommend it. Here, maybe I can punch up a video without getting. Oh, the whole thing. The first result on YouTube, the full video right there. But here, let's watch.
The agency called and they have a new birth mother they want us to meet.
Is that a baby in there?
Yeah, do you want to feel?
No more heavy lifting for you. Give me those.
You guys are so nice. Tell you how happy you've made us. And you're going to have a perfect life too one day, I promise. I hope it's in a town like this with a family like yours.
There's a fire.
What does she want with us?
I don't know.
There's a fire. Oh.
Robert doesn't love you. He told me so. And he loves me.
Just let me
You did this.
It was about him the whole time.
I'm scared.
I'm scared too.
Oh, it's here. Oh, just stop into the deep.
You really are a strange girl.
I'm telling you, the movie was hilarious. And it's just, they were not trying to. There's one scene where Kristen Wiig is pregnant, and it's like the perfect cookout right by the lake, and she's yelling at Will Ferrell like, "Come on, let's go for you promised me a boat ride," and um, Kristen Wiig just falls into the water. That's all that happened. She just falls in the water. Granny Paula, how you doing? She falls in the water and loses the baby, and then loses the ability to have kids on top of that from falling into water. Happy weekend, Granny. And it happened. It's pretty much opening scene. It's like, and that part is funny, and it's just funny because of Will Ferrell's reaction. And then when she's falling in the water, it's so slow motioned that it's just ridiculous. So I think they gave a little comedic leeway to them in the opening scene, just a little bit, but then yeah, the rest of it just turns into your basic Fatal Attraction type situation plot line. Such a good movie. But hey, Granny Paula, we're just talking about great ridiculous stuff to watch. We're talking about Niecy Nash and the show Claws, and then Bassett Trio brought up the show, a new Niecy Nash show. Niecy Nash was from Reno 911, Grotesquerie. And now we were talking about the Lifetime movie that Will Ferrell did, and I just played the trailer for that, and which he did straight with Kristen Wiig, and it's called A Deadly Adoption, and it's amazing. Yep, Will Ferrell did a straight Lifetime movie. He did completely straight, completely serious. And this was a few years ago too, and it really didn't splash too hard. Not too many people knew about it. Yeah. I mean, it is. It's a legit Lifetime movie. The Lifetime, so I guess that'd be a production studio, put that out. And then it looks like Mar Vista Entertainment over here are the people who probably actually did the work. But we'll get rid of that and back at it. And 6 people on board with 5 likes. Thanks a lot, you guys. I really appreciate it. Happy weekend. Sorry for the mess in the background. I have to keep my garbage go this way, up in the air for obvious reasons. So I don't feed 5 dogs pounds of garbage when I'm gone. And we're just trying to keep it casual today. It's been a while, and I've missed saying hi to everyone and talking to everyone. And it's great to see everyone. Happy Saturday, happy weekend. Yeah, I mean, it's either up in the air or else like I put it in this. I have a cubby built into the cabinet, and that's just going to turn into mice in a second too. Or old farmhouses tend to have mice, and Lexi is too old. She will just stare at mice now. And I'm going to go like this because I don't even want to see that garbage. Yeah, well, they say if you have 1 mouse, you really have 10. So never forget that. Oh, thank you. About the plants. Yeah. Mary, my partner, during the pandemic, got addicted to plants. And we have a house just full of plants. I ended up, rebuilding a greenhouse on the farm here, and it's the greenhouse that I use a lot in the videos. She's got that thing jam full of plants too, and she's agreed to do a video about her plants. So we're going to shoot that at some point and put that out. Why don't you have a cat? Bad for your place? Well, it was Granny. It was your all's idea from the last stream that you wanted to see a plant episode. I once had a white nose in my kitchen. It was a little one. Trying to grow pumpkins in Florida, and the heat killed it. I bet. I remember being down in Florida a few times, and one time we went to a farm that was actually also a market, and it seemed like they were growing like a lot of carrots and a lot of like stuff like that, like stuff that doesn't do super well up here. But then when, like, I'm from originally, I grew up in Wisconsin, near Milwaukee, and you could grow pumpkins there, like they just explode. You just grow giant pumpkins, not even trying. So it seems like maybe you need a colder climate. Granny, we said goodbye to our 2 and the dog in the same year. They like dry 2, I think. I'm not sure what we're on about. 2 cats right now. Oh, no cats right now. LOL. Once I had a white nose in my kitchen, it was a little one. Huh. Well, that's great. So I was planning on oh, gotcha. Understood. Sorry. It's odd talking like this because I feel like it's a one-sided conversation, but it's not. At the same time, it's not. My big kick for the day is my ceiling fan up here has died, and it's an old Hunter stained glass ceiling fan, and which is weird. And I found that one off of Marketplace years ago, and I just got a free one off of Marketplace this morning, and I raced out to get it. It's like a $300 fan that they were just giving away. So I'm excited to get the air moving in this room again, because I got 5 old farting dogs, and if we want to maybe get a little, we got these 2 cuties. Mama and Bernie have been nap mates quite a bit these days. There's Bernie up, looking around a little bit. And I guess the last time I did a live stream, we were showing off Bernie. We just gotten him. I think it was the same day I did the live stream because I was so excited. Bernie is amazing. Other than the fact that he has he pees a little bit here and there. And I don't think that's dementia or anything. I think it's just more of I just saw an ad yeah, I did. I hit my watch hours last week. It finally happened. Thank you. And I guess I'm on a fully monetized channel at this point. And please feel free to ad block away. Thank you. Yeah, I've been uploading for about a year now, these videos fairly regularly, so it's good to finally get ahead on that. Like I said, Will, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate everyone's help. It's something where I'm just like at one point, like, not really I don't really care about it, because if I'm caring about it, then why am I doing it? Because it's like, if I need money, I should just do other things. You know what I mean? You had my videos on for 20. Oh, wow. Well, I appreciate you guys. That's awesome. If you need me to return the favor, let me know. I'll get some windows open for you, Bassett Trio. But it sounds like nothing. It doesn't hurt to have views and viewers. I guess if that's the name of the game, is to build up a channel here. I personally just want to turn on the world with beautiful animals. Will. Thanks, Granny. And like I say, I don't know if you guys have ad blockers on. I sure do. That's the one thing I don't want to do, is subject people to advertisements they don't want to see. And And I'll just say it. You need ad blockers. YouTube stinks without an ad blocker. Will Hudson helped you. Oh, that's great, you guys. That's fantastic. I feel like I just need to just keep doing what I'm doing. It's one of those things where I punch through the solution. The old, I forgot what they call it in karate, where you punch beyond the goal. And you know, my goal is just to have a nice long history of the animals at this farm. Is it a lot of ads now? At least political ads are done. Agreed. I wish we lived in a place where just political ads weren't even a thing. Maybe we can do a little Bernie shot. You guys are not Bernie Murray. They're such similar names. I'm mixing these two up all the time, but I got a little cute scene of Murray sleeping. Yeah, political ads have been insane. But here, I'll try to steady it. There's old Murray crashing out. And this is 99% of the happiness at the happy old dog and cat farm. Yeah. Bernie's crazy, but I love that dog so much. A tired dog is a happy dog. But yeah, it's like you try to pet him and he wants to bite you, and he doesn't really want to bite you. He's just sort of playing with his mouth, you know. And I don't know. I've really taken to him. And I think over here I have dogs hiding, but there's Saphira hiding in the corner, catching her Z's. She's funny, being a husky. She always wants to sleep on the cold floor. She never wants to. There's Stacy kind of hiding behind the chair, but I don't want to move the chair and disturb her. But yeah, a tired dog is a happy dog. And you like being cold while sleeping? I heat up like an oven when I sleep, so I'm always fighting for the cold side of the pillow, as they say. You want to know the one thing I didn't understand is and I'm sure they still have them, but they were super common when I was growing up, or the electric blankets. And I have never seen a worse invention in my life. I could never understood why. The only way is I could understand an electric blanket is if your heat is out. Like that's it. Because I may as well just be naked then and not. It's just too hot. Granny Pinky was telling us about how she does wax removal for people down in Florida, and how she likes how she pulls hair off people. And I was gonna say, Pinky, you need to do a channel, because I bet you get millions of views of people watching that. A heating pad. Okay. Do you put it like under the mattress? You should, Pinky. You should. You definitely should. I know for a fact. I bet if we look, there's a bunch of there's channels doing that right now. Just pulling it and then people screaming. Oh, I know why you're doing it. I hear you, girl. No biggie. It's sorry that's the case. Around here we've started do it. Get that channel going. Around here we've started I've gotten such a bumper crop from all the tomatoes and the peppers and stuff that I don't even know what to do with it. And so instead of canning it, I've started doing fermenting. I'm fermenting the food. And I don't know if you guys know about that. Spaghetti sauce, yeah. Which I've made. I have a ton of that. Ceviche with tomatoes. Delish. Salsa, yeah. Pickles, yep. I have been pickling a little bit. I even made jelly. I made some jalapeno lime jelly. That was for the first time. I figured why not give it a shot, and it came out really well. Yes, I make kimchi often, and that's what initially got me into just doing these fermented like hot sauces and stuff. And it's a really easy way to preserve food, and on top of that, promote good gut health. How am I fermenting? So it's the way I do it. Not a lot of people seem to do it, but I can actually go get some of it to show you an example. But primarily, I'm doing it in a food sealer. And here, be right back. I don't want to turn into like a Martha Stewart farmer guy, but so here's like peppers and garlic and ginger, and then I seal it up in this bag, and it seals up really tight. And then I put 3% of the weight of the item of the food. I add 3% salt, and that's it. That's it. And then you seal it up and put it in an oxygen poor environment. And so here's like some tomatoes that have been going for about 2 weeks. Some more peppers. And a lot of people do them in like clay pots and stuff. But they do them in environments that aren't oxygen poor. And then you get this layer of mold on top of the food from the oxygen, from the yeast in the air. And that's what turns off a lot of people about fermenting food, because they think like the layer of mold that appears is bad for you, and it just turns people off. But if you do it in an oxygen poor environment, that layer will not form. And then I usually take these and transfer these to jars once they're done creating the CO2. And yeah, you could do this with any food you buy. And it's pretty amazing how delicious some of this stuff can be. Like just tomato and salt, nothing. I didn't even add water to this, and it is seriously a full flavored item. It can stand on its own. You don't need to do anything to it. And the only thing is like if you start cooking it, though, you're going to kill the lactic acid bacteriolosis, the LAB, which is the good gut bacteria, which is the whole point of eating this type of food. So you can definitely heat it up if you want, and it's still good for you. But if you want to get the real benefits of good gut health, that's what you need to do, is just keep it at a cooler temperature. It's kind of a raw food thing, if you know what I mean. And we've been eating more and more like that just because of this garden. And the results of it have been really wonderful. You don't need to own a farm to make kimchi, Pinky. Okay, so my partner Mary got addicted to collecting plants during the pandemic. Me, I got addicted to learning how to bake bread, and I got really, really good at baking bread. And so good that I could probably go and be a baker. I'm not going to say that I'm going to be like a good baker, but I could definitely probably impress most bakers with what I can pull off now. And I was actually putting up a lot of it on Instagram and making people jealous. My big accomplishment was in the world of bread was I made pain de glace, which is glass bread. And it's so light and airy that when you cut into it, it reflects light and it looks like glass. And yes, delicious, delicious carbs. But here, I will share my Instagram for you. And if this doesn't come through and you can't see it, hi, meanwhile, welcome in. So this is my Instagram, and if you want to follow me, I am. Does it show you that? It doesn't show you. I am. That's me on Instagram, Pat Dundun. That's my name, at Pat Dundun. You can follow me if you want. I don't really post much bread advice anymore. I'm trying not to, but you can see most of my time frame is. This was a weird one. There was a guy walking around Nashville with his brain exposed, and he was freaking everyone out in town. He was a homeless guy, literally walking out around with his brain exposed. Yeah, that was a messed up situation. Nashville's turning into a big city, and stuff like that going down means a big city. There's old Pickles looking like a bat. And I realized I was taking a nap and I woke up and he was staring at me. I'm like, you look like a bat. Yeah, exactly. That's why Pinky's staying in the house. I agree, Pinky. I'd stay in the house too. Apparently the story with that dude was he was at the hospital and they pulled the plate. He had a plate in his head already. And for whatever reason, I have a feeling he probably maybe got a little rowdy and left the hospital with his plate, left the plate at the hospital and just took off with like an open, exposed brain. And yeah, good Lord indeed. And yeah, there's sweet little Pickles. Let me see. There's the crew. There's old Murray and Pickles, Stacy in the back. This was the day after I got Stacy and Pickles, or no, Stacy and Murray. I'm sorry. And old friends texted me and it's like, how are they doing? And I sent them that picture and it made them really happy. Here's a pretty fun video of me and Pickles.
Has been slow, but after several years of setbacks, it might be headed in the right direction.
Either way, you don't need to hear that. It's just the radio playing. But yeah, Pickles and me driving around, hanging out. I miss that dog so much. He's such a sweetheart. Complicated little dude. There's Matcha, right before we put him to sleep. Used to go. This is an old video of my original pack that I used to take rollerblading all at once. So there's 4 dogs here. You can only see 3, but there's Bruce. He passed recently. You remember Bruce from the channel? That's Miss Violet, my old Catahoula Whippet. And then that's Good Girl, my Amstaff red heeler. And then Oscar is a blue heeler, and he's probably off to the right. This video is literally like 15 years old. Yeah, Catahoula Whippet, Miss Violet. There's some old videos of her. In fact, I've got Miss Violet's last walk on this channel. There's Oscar. You can see him for a second. And Oscar's a lot like Bernie, where he is just loyal and right there. Bernie does not need a leash. He just walks along with me like there is no problem. Bruce is thank you. Everyone just loved Bruce. He was like the special dog. Everyone would come over and visit, be like, I really like Bruce. And I think it was because my other dogs were just so lovey and in your face, and Bruce is just sort of like, "Hey, what's up?" He's just kind of like, he's kind of the Fonzie of the crew. But yeah, yeah, there's, but yeah, that's this was back when I was working probably 70 hours a week on a television show called Nashville. It was not that great of a show, but I would take the dogs rollerblading because my hips were so stiff I wouldn't be able to walk very much. And if I went rollerblading for a half hour, I could have a nice, fun, full weekend. And yeah, look at them go, huh? And let me get out of there. Oh, that's the garden this year. One of the gardens. And there's Bruce. Unfortunately, non-responsive right before we brought him in to put him to sleep. And he stroked out in the night. And yeah, so that's my last moments with Bruce. And it makes me want to cry right now. Oh, here's a piece of bread. That's panda glacé. Or I'm sorry, panda cristal, glass bread. You can see it reflecting. It's an amazing bread. Yeah, back then I didn't have the farm, and I would just get them down there, and it would clear my head too. And we were on a trail where people at that point in time did not use bike trails in Nashville, so they were just dead, like completely dead. And yeah, Panda Cristal is a magical bread, and apparently it's a very hard bread to make. So I was pretty proud. I was pretty proud of myself. That's Ivan, our old pitty. He's such a good boy. And this is Ivan's last day when we were taking him in to have him put to sleep. And yeah, that was a very tough day. And I got some Lexi, Matcha, one of my favorites. Matcha had to have his eye taken out, and that was right after that happened. Miss that dog so much. Matcha, the first day we got him, he's such a scraggly old dog. I can make a clear jelly cake. How's that now, Pinky? Here's some pizza. See, I was trying to get us down to my breads. Oh, a friend of mine wrote a poem about me, and then published it in his book, and then sent me the book. Didn't even tell me. A poem for one Pat Dun Dun. It's a pretty intense poem. Let's see here. Oh, some of the old pack. Live in a vegan world and animals live forever. I'm cool with that. Currently, I'm trying to just eat less meat just for health reasons, and there are some times where I do just have deep cravings for meat, but I agree. It's it's going away, but I'm not going to fault anybody for eating meat. I mean, we are where we are, though, and Mama Safira. There's Ivan. Miss that guy. There's Miss Violet, my Catahoula Whippet. towards the end, she just liked laying out in the sun. She was getting all lumpy. And just like laying out there. And I knew then that the time was soon. She had blue eyes too. She had one blue eye, or one bluish purple eyes, and then one of them was a marble eye. Unfortunately, here she is. When I came home, I remember I talked to someone, and there was like some special Asian herb that's supposed to help. It was supposed to help Violet with her problems. I ran out to get it, and I came back, and she had passed away. And so there she is, passed away. Hated it. Miss Lexi sitting near the picture that looks like her. And I'm going to delete that comment. This is a table I made for a bar. I made 2 tables for a bar. This is after I installed them. I built that entire bar. Oh, okay. So here we go. Here's where my bread addiction kicked in. Yeah, so like a lot of what I do is I just fix things. I fix a lot of things. And from a young age, I had grown up in a store where we were forced to work. And part of that store was a machine repair shop for like office machines. So by about the age of 6 or 7, I was fixing typewriters and adding machines and all sorts of other stuff. And then that was the late 70s into the 80s, once things started getting digital and computerized, like calculators and stuff. I started learning how to fix that stuff. And then I just, lived my life just fixing stuff. And, slowly but surely that just kind of became my career. And then I became multidisciplinary in the craft work that I was doing. So if there's something that's broken, I can usually fix it pretty much. Like I build computers, I take them apart, things like that. And now in this day and age, things aren't even worth fixing. So I'm actually kind of taken back when I do find something that was made in this century that's fixable. Am I a Virgo? I don't think so. Let me see. I'm a Pisces. And the learning how to fix stuff was honestly forced upon me. I don't think I would have been like that had that not been put on me. Do I make my own sourdough starter? No, I don't. So when my band was touring around the country a lot, I would get over to like San Francisco and stuff and try the famous sourdough starter, and it made me so sick. So I'm not going to like run away from sourdough bread, but I feel like people that do have issues with bread, I think that might be the first thing, is that it's sourdough. I have made it before in the past. I just didn't really find any need for it here. And I just sort of preferred fresher sourdough or fresher dough. I mean, leave any dough long enough and it's going to become a sourdough, right? And but here we go. I mean, the breads. So yeah, this is an Indonesian bread, a wheat roll stuffed with cinnamon, chocolate, vanilla, and vanilla. Those were really good. Yeah, it just sourdough just hits my gut a little weird, and at least the stuff out in San Francisco did. And then I just sort of was like, not really my thing. And the one thing I never understood is how people make bread with just sourdough and no fresh yeast. That's always blown my mind because I've had horrible results by just using sourdough for a rising agent. That is my that's a deep dish pizza I made that I did with a focaccia that I only let rise once, and it's different than a deep dish. It's so light and airy. It's like a cloud bread almost. I started to just call it cloud pizza. So I guess that's kind of an invention of my own. So like I've been to places that serve deep dish pizza, and that's not deep dish pizza there. Like if I gave you a big chunk of that, you would think, oh my gosh, and then you'd lift it up and it weighs nothing. If that makes sense. That was a special pizza. And I've made it a few times. I should just make it again. It's just, and it's oops. One of my bags fell with tomatoes. Oh, what's that? Here we go. I'm gonna delete that comment too. This is lahmacun. It's a Turkish flatbread with lamb and a mix of pureed lamb and tomato. And it's delicious. Lahmacun. There's songs called lahmacun. It's a staple in Turkish, and I'm sure it's flatbread, but this style I'm sure bleeds beyond the Turkish culture. Oh, look at that! I was proud of that one. That little bubble. The classic Yorkshire pud. So yeah, I was at this point where I just was going down the list, of just things. Deep fried cream sandwich. The thing is I'm not doing anything special here. It's like bread is something anybody can do. I think it's just daunting for some people because they've never done it. And I think if you allow yourself enough time, you're never going to screw up bread. Yorkshire pudding's really simple. You need a muffin tin, like the one I'm using, and then you need some really good like fat. So I had a bunch of lamb fat. You can't do this with olive oil. You need like a suet or a vegetable oil that can get really hot, and then you put just the oil and the pan in the oven and just let it cook and get super hot. And then the Yorkshire pudding dough is almost like pancake batter, and you just pour it in and close the oven, and then it just pops and explodes. And believe it or not, British people do not like necessarily fresh Yorkshire pudding. They like it better the next day because it becomes more chewy. The next stream, my whole problem is I'm on a corded camera, and I don't know. I'll have to experiment with live streaming. I just have a feeling it'll be a mess. And live streaming, making bread in real time, bread is like smoking meat in the way, like the more you leave it alone, the better it's going to be. So it's like that. Is that conducive for a live stream where, where we would literally have to like chat for an hour from step to step? No mess. You just go from there. But yeah, Yorkshire pudding, absolutely delicious. I'm just going to delete that too. So this is a rye bread. I got into rye breads a little bit, and I made it in the shape of a heart to show my partner how much I love her. And then down in the bottom there, I'm enjoying the rye bread with some sour cream, pickles, and that's this really thick honey. That's unfiltered honey. So it's sour cream, pickles, and honey on rye bread. And baking bread time lapse. Okay. Okay. Make it a silent stream. Everybody's doing these silent streams. Oh, okay. Okay. Made stromboli. This stromboli I did with beef bulgogi, peanut, cabbage, and a bit of Szechuan peppercorn. It was delicious. Oh yeah, I was doing a lot of my bread recipes from this Spanish cooking school that published their recipes online, and this was something that they just called a taco, and it was just a rye square bread. And oh, you're a foodie? That's cool. And yeah, you can even see down in the bottom window there. It's called tacos. And yeah, it's just like a flat patty, and I think I put a little bit of some. I think I put a little bit of like veggies and cheese in it, and I got a cool winking dog there, just reminding everyone that dogs are cool. And delete that comment too. Oh, and I did. I took a crack at some banh mi rolls. So, as you can see, I got really into making bread. Whole wheat oatmeal millet bread. I started messing with other flours to see how that worked. Oh, it's a confit garlic potato bread. What is this? A whole grain loaf with cocoa, blackberry, and honey ganache bread. That's right. I made like just a big old chocolate bread. And yeah, that's a Subway advertisement, believe it or not, for Labor Day. Yeah, I don't know if you see any resemblances to anything in that picture, but it sure is interesting. So my niece is a track star, and she's in college at the University of Minnesota, and she's a track star. She won the Big Ten, her first Big Ten championship her freshman year, which is pretty insane. For celebration, I invented this bread for her, and it's a double chocolate bread. So inside of the dark chocolate bread that's wrapped around it, there's white chocolate chips, and then it's white bread with dark chocolate chips in it, and then it wraps up. And yeah, so I did a test batch for me and Mary, and it was amazing. And yeah, it was probably one of the best. It's as close as bread can get to being a dessert, in my opinion. And yeah, resounding success. I'm a fan of all of her friends. Yeah, I just I messaged her and said, "Congrats, do you want some bread?" And she said, "Yeah." And I think I even named it Pain de Victory au chocolat Dundon Zoe, double Zoe. So it just means victory bread, double chocolate victory bread, Zoe's double chocolate victory bread. And have I read bread pudding? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Bread pudding's the stuff. Where I'm at now in my bread discovery is not necessarily even bread anymore. I bought a tortilla press. So I've been making a lot of tortillas. And yeah, bread pudding. Oh, so good. Yeah, there's just some chocolate and white chocolate in the middle, some chocolate bread with white chocolate in the middle. And then yeah, I did a sorghum based bread there. And so it was all right. This was my flour. This is millet bread. I was just trying to see what was up with other flours. This is buckwheat bread. I tried to do a gluten-free bread here, and it's made with like tapioca and sorghum and potato flour and psyllium husk. And you know, it was good. I don't ever want to make it again unless like someone comes over and they're gluten-free, but I'd rather just make them tortillas at that point. I made injera dough. I don't know if you've ever had Ethiopian food, but the flatbread in Ethiopian food is called injera. Sorry, I said it like I'm Latino. It's injera. It's a delicious bread. And yeah, look at that. Look at that. It's such a wild looking dough. The injera was great. And then my partner Mary grew up in Africa for a huge portion of her upbringing. So she gets these insane cravings for Ethiopian food. So I've taught myself how to make her favorite dishes and make them every now and then. And we're probably due for another round of segawat and injera. Well, I mean, you know, you try to like love your partner and give them what they want, and when it's just food, that's not that hard. So if you haven't tried Ethiopian food, I recommend everyone try it. It's an amazing cuisine. It really, really is a delicious cuisine. Yeah, I hear you. I guess what I'm saying is try to get to an Ethiopian restaurant if you have one nearby. You'll have a great time, and the food's delicious. Vegetarian Ethiopian food's unreal good. There's so much diversity there, and there's so many different flavors that they bring you out. And the meat side of it is great too. So I wouldn't discount any of it. What spices in Ethiopian food? What spices are in there? All of them. Primarily, I say all of them just because there's a lot. But the one the like so segawat is just basically stewed beef, and segawat has one of the main things is Berber pepper. I don't know if you know about the spicy Berber mix. So that is just literally like probably 20 different spices ground together. This is a dog and cat channel though. I can't make it a bread channel. But it's Ethiopian food is a lot of home cooking. It's a lot of stewed stuff, a lot of stewed things that can cook for a long time and break down, even the veggie side of it. I guess it is the farm, isn't it? I should maybe do a cooking slot, but I'm gonna need help from you guys. You guys have to tell me what you're into. Indian food. I just made chutney. I just made chutney yesterday. I have a lot of green tomatoes, and I made a big batch of green tomato chutney. I probably have about 2 gallons of green tomato chutney in a pot right over there on the stove that I need to can up later. Spaghetti. I do. I do make spaghetti sometimes. Lately, I just use regular noodles. You know, fresh noodles are great, but even like restaurants that make fresh spaghetti will let feel that the noodles need to dry out and age more. A lot of times fresh pasta is usually going to be like a fettuccine or a wider noodle. And yeah, injera, it's just big giant pancakes, and then they'll just put the food right on top of like a big piece of the bread, so all the juices soak into the bread. Then they give you extra bread, and you don't even need forks and knives. You just use the bread and just start eating bites. It's it's really good. And before I moved here to the Nashville area, I lived up in the Twin Cities area, and the Twin Cities had a huge Ethiopian and Somali population. So I remember by the time I left there was probably 30 or 40 Ethiopian restaurants around town. So it was hard to kind of get away to not try. And boy, I caught the bug. And I still kind of wish we had more Ethiopian restaurants down here even. And it seems like about one opens every year. But yeah, I can't not just express my love for Ethiopian. It's one of the world's greatest cuisines. And oh, okay. So a semolina. This is a semolina donut bread, which is just like a great hearty sandwich bread, but you're supposed to actually make it like a bagel kind of. So you actually cut it into a circle, cut a circle out of the middle of it before you cook it. That was a good bread. And this is a Basque Sopanko soup bread. So this is like a Spanish bread, and I didn't do very good on. Usually it's super dark, and it is supposed to be that shape, so it can rest on a saddle mount. So you would like put that on your saddle mount and then take off on your horse and ride off into the Spanish countryside, or into the Basque countryside. For any of you Spanish separatists out there, I don't want to offend you. I'll call it the Basque countryside. And that's a good bread. And oh yeah, this. So this is called épices de blé. And you're making a French baguette, and then you cut it right before you bake it, and like flip the sides over. And the goal is to make it look like a piece of wheat, like a wheat chaff. And that's a great bread. That's a fun bread, because then it makes all these crispy corners. See how now you've got just like crispy edges everywhere, and you just pull them off like that. And that makes eating bread really fun. Oh, and then this is cacciapuri, Georgian cheese bread. And then you cook it up and put an egg in the middle of it. No, it did kind of look like a challah, and you know what? We will be getting to challah shortly. Saddle bread, cool. Yep, right? Yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of bread. So like I said, actually it was just shortly like after-ish around the pandemic. I really just found this cerebral meditative experience in making bread. And yeah, cacciapuri is one of the greatest dishes in the world, and it's comes from the country of Georgia, and not the state. And this is like a street food that people would eat for breakfast. Yeah, cacciapuri is amazing. And then down in here inside alongside the egg is like a spicy tomato and cheese blend that just sort of melts away, and you just mix the egg in with it. Just a good old grilled cheese, some homemade bread. There's just some boring boring in the sense there's nothing crazy special. Yeah, we got some birds outside. It's still drizzling a little bit. We've got some rainy weather today on the farm. I did a blueberry bread. More of that blueberry bread. Oh, I did some pistolets with some salami and cheese in them. Severe droughts in PA now? Wow. So you go from floods 1 minute to severe wildfires and droughts the next. Amazing. How did that happen? How does that happen? How does that happen that quick? I'm sorry, Pinky. I don't mean to stress you out. Oh, here we go. We're getting into the PA area for Granny. Granny, I made a Pete's. Here's my Pete's. Can't use lawnmowers? Oh, because it'll just start fire. Oh my gosh, that is dry. You like a Pete's, Granny? There's my version of a Pete's. What do you think? Would that do justice to my tomato bread? And then yeah, the Philly style tomato pie. I fell in love with. Thank you. I appreciate that. Someone from PA telling me I did a good job on a Pete's is a badge of honor I'll wear courageously. That's just some dough fun and did some buckwheat honey, excuse me. And yeah, that's this bread called Montagne's bread, and then you can make it like a regular round loaf, or else you clip the edges so it gets crispier. Jamaican beef and potato pies. And hey, Pinky, you got some good Jamaican pies down there in Florida? I bet you do. I bet you there's some great Jamaican pies down in Florida. Oh, the Jamaican pies? Super easy. I bet. Man, Jamaican food. Whew, so good. So good. Yeah, I remember being down in Florida, and I feel like you could get Jamaican pies in like gas stations even. For Jamaican pies, I will. Oh gosh, I don't even remember where I got the recipe from. I just remember it being a very easy experience, and you end up putting a lot of curry powder in the dough so it turns it yellow. Oh, dude, many cultures stuff filling in bread. True. No one invented putting stuff in bread. There's no one culture that can claim that. If there is, it would have to be the Egyptians, because the Egyptian. I even did the history of this and started. So like I got a little obsessive with bread. I'll admit it, and I started like, well, what's the first bread recipe? And it goes to the Egyptians in like 2300 BC, and it's flour and yeast mixed with grape juice, and then you roll the dough out and like a snake, and then coil it up, and then put dates on it, and then bake it. And that is the first leavened bread recipe. I mean, flatbreads existed well before that, but this is the first time someone like either let the dough sit long enough so that it did ferment and create yeast, or else just somehow was able to isolate yeast and use it. But that is the first bread recipe, and it ends up looking purplish and kind of like a poop because it's wound up like a coil. I have not. That was, you know what? That is a bucket list bread. I haven't made it, and whenever I've told my partner about it, she's just said that sounds gross, and I keep forgetting to go and buy grape juice to make it. Scalded rye pan bread, and oop. But yeah, guys, you know, this my bread problem just goes on and on. Philly tomato pie with lemon or goat cheese, a Pete's. Granny Paula is going to know all about that stuff. Tell her it's wine bread. Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, it's just the idea, I think, of just grape juice and bread being like the main component, and I have a feeling it probably mellows out quite a bit. But yeah, you can see I have a bread problem. I did a cherry honey oatmeal bread. I think this was probably in, oh, this was my bread. I invented this bread, and I call it worm bread. And it's just the way I handle the dough, and I do it with twists. I twist the bread, and it comes out looking like a worm. You're allergic to cherries. Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, worms. Wormy bread. Worm bread's great. I forgot all about it, but I actually have I actually have the recipe right here, and the reason I liked it is because it was so simple, and it's 2 cups of bread flour to 1 cup of water, 7 grams or 1 packet of yeast, and 1 teaspoon of salt. That's it. That's all that's in that bread. And then I flour and salt in 1 bowl, warm water and yeast in the other. Let yeast rise for 5. Combine the 2 bowls and mix the ingredients with a spoon. Knead in the bowl until the bowl is clean and the bowl has come together in a non-sticky ball. Let it rise. Dust the breadboard. Hang the dough to form a rectangle using your hands. Lay it on the board, palm, fold, and pinch the dough 3 times. Then roll the dough log tightly at the ends, finally twisting concentrically for the final 30-minute proof. Heat the oven to 500 degrees. Cook in the middle of the oven on your baking sheet with parchment paper, and spray with water as you're putting it in the range. 8 to 12 minutes or golden brown. Keep an eye on it. And yeah, for a while, like, I claimed that's mine. And I feel like no one was going anywhere near something like that. I mean, you know, how marketable is that anyway? That is bread solely for just like tearing off and like putting jam or butter on and just eating straight. Like, you're never going to make a sandwich out of that. But I did not care. That was some great bread. I did a plaid focaccia with seeds. Oh, I did I did some Italian bread, and then I made like Stouffer's French bread pizzas. It's the who cares bread. Exactly. Worm bread is who cares bread. And I don't know if you guys remember those Stouffer's French bread pizzas? I saw pickle sandwich, like they wrap it up. It's like the new low carb thing where they use big pickles and then wrap the food around it. But yeah, homemade French bread pizza is freaking amazing. Oh, that's a sandwich I made, a shaved lamb sandwich. I was just showing it off. Yeah, I think I would like the pickle sandwich more than like the lettuce. You know, like when they use lettuce as the bread. I started cooking at a very young age. It was just another thing to fix, if you know what I mean. So food definitely fell into that category of like stuff that needs to be fixed. And that's just some straight old cheese bread. I made some fresh bread and put it under the broiler and cheesed it up with some garlic. The lettuce is boring, and then it just sort of gets soggy. Oh yeah, so this is like my grandma's recipe for bread. My grandma made this one type of bread, and it didn't always come out very well too often, but I took the recipe and tried to make a good loaf of bread with it, and it was pretty good. It was okay. It was pretty good. And we're going to delete that. Oh yeah, this is when I took the family bread recipe and adjusted it, because I realized that the recipe was so old that the gluten content in the bread that my grandma was using was totally different than what everyone now is using. And I ended up just adding more water so that the flour would hydrate more. And then I ended up creating this beautiful open crumb light bread. And yeah, there's just meat and some lamb. I made that in a fire oven when we lost power for 4 days. That bread cooked in 6 minutes. That's me cooking the bread. And there's Lexi walking around and hanging out. If you can see her back there. Oh yeah, leftover bread. I just took a bunch of leftovers and rolled it into the bread. A friend of mine made some hot sauce and sent it to me. It's some homemade fermented hot sauce he called Butthole Horror. And no, it was not horrible. This bread. So this bread is a Turkish bread called simit. And that is one of the best breads I've ever had in my life. Turkish simit is a delicious, amazing bread. And you end up putting these sesame seeds on top of it and then dunking it, kind of like a bagel, in a it's like water mixed with a little bit of like honey, I think. Yeah, it's just water and honey. And you dunk it in it right before it goes in the oven, and then you end up getting this insanely crispy, crunchy outside with the nuts, and then the inside is literally a pillow. Tell them about that hot sauce. I'm making a bunch of hot sauce too. Maybe I should do a giveaway on the channel, do a hot sauce giveaway for a little sweepstakes. Just doing some homemade pizza. Tried to do some pretzels. I didn't have any lye, so lye is what make pretzels dark. It's lye. You have to soak it in lye. And but either way, those are pretty good. It's a wheat honey oat seed bread. Super high in calories. What's Philly? Oh, the pretzel. Are pretzels a Philly thing? I didn't know. There's my after we lost power for 4 days, and soft pretzels. Okay, well, that was definitely a soft pretzel that I made. So cool. All right, Philly pretzels. Chocolate pretzel. Or just a pretzel dipped in chocolate. Yeah, so we were out of power for 4 days, and so I ended up ordering this thing so we could at least make food if we ever lost power again. And yeah, just a cross cut of some braided bread. Oh, and that's a potato bread with stuffed with caramelized onions. Luckily, I haven't had to use the oven since, but it's there raring to go. And here's my challah. I did a challah bread. Um, Challah, the great Jewish bread with an egg, and that you add eggs to, makes it really soft and kind of yellow. So it's an amazing sandwich bread. Oh, so this was after we had lost power for 4 days. It happened right when I was making this challah here. That is, that's what bread looks like that has been overproofed in its final step, because it just sat for 4 days. And I didn't throw it out because I kept thinking like, oh, the power will turn back on soon. You know, you're usually good for about a day or two max, but that's just a big blasted out. And here I am laying with Good Girl. She had just had her tumor taken out. That was about the size of a softball, and she couldn't sleep. So I laid down on the floor with her and just kind of petted her and calmed her down. And then she finally fell asleep, and I took a picture because I knew it was going to be one of the last times I was going to have a picture with her. And it was. Yeah, and they took the tumor out, and she wasn't doing so great. And I was just laying on the floor, giving her belly rubs, and she finally fell asleep after about 20 minutes. She couldn't sleep, and I was misled by my veterinarian, and they should have just told me to put her to sleep instead of like, oh, we can take out the tumor and then try to keep her alive until she can talk to the endocrinologist in a week. And you know, I ended up spending about $7,000 trying to keep that dog alive for the week just to get it to the appointment, and then she finally passed away. And, so yeah, that was one of the last times I saw my first dog I ever raised from a pup when I adopted her from the shelter. That's a bad cinnamon bread. I don't even know why I posted that. It looks horrible. This I was trying to thanks Granny. Thanks Pinky. I was trying to copy the Australian cattle company bread that they give you. So that's what that was. This is me more earlier on. Chocolate and peanut butter. There's Miss Violet and Ivan. And there's some Indian. So that's Ethiopian food right there that I made. So that's segawat. That's this beef dish. That's a stewed beef, and you put butter on it, and then hard-boiled eggs. And then this is yakik alicha, which is I think that's like a lentil. Yeah, it's a lentil dish. And then I ended up making wheat injera. I didn't have buckwheat at the time. Yeah, Pinky. It's just once dogs get older, they're literally Good Girl in the matter of 2 days. All of a sudden just had a tumor the size of like, it's probably this big. Seriously, over a weekend, it was like bigger than a softball, and there it was. And I just know this. Knowing what I know now, I would have put the poor thing to sleep right then and there. It was my ego thinking like a dog of mine is going to live longer when I have no control over any of that. And I'm paying the price for that stupid decision every month. Let's put it that way, because you know, we've talked about this in the past. I ended up spending thousands and thousands of dollars on that sweetheart. And I mean, her name was Good Girl, you know. That's how much I loved her. That's me watching Bruce, and there's Good Girl down at my side and watching Bruce poop. And you know, Good Girl probably passed away about a month or two after this happened. Some Simmet. Yeah, and it's true. The worst thief is the one who steals playtime from children. Big old pizza bread, sloppy pizza bread. Yeah, I'm sorry, Pinky. Wow. It just got better. Amazing. Cats are resilient animals. Oh, this bread here is pan de queijo. It's like a Brazilian bread that's mostly made with tapioca flour and cheese, and it's really crunchy and then gooey in the middle. If you've ever had it, it's amazing. I recommend it. Profiteroles? Well, I'm sorry. Is that another word for the Brazilian bread? I meanwhile, profiteroles. But as you can see, my bread problem goes on and on and on and on and on. It's all I was pretty much posting on social media. There's blackberry bread, and I made a blackberry baguette. More of that Turkish simit bread. This is what simit is what bagels, like simit is the granddaddy of bagels, if that makes sense. From France. Profiteroles. I want to look that up. Oh, cream puffs. I made cream puffs once. I've made them twice. And honestly, when I was a kid, I took home ec, and that was one of the things we made was cream puffs. And yeah, those are kind of mind-blowing. I could open a bakery, but it's the type of thing where it's like, I love making this stuff at home. Do I want to do it as a profession and create like this business and, you know, rest my well-being upon it? Not really. I don't know. There's a lot of things that I can do really well at home, and then it's like, oh, you should do this into a business, and it's just like, yeah, no, I don't know. Perhaps I'm just self-defeating. Simmet, banh mi. I made a banh mi roll. More pizza. More pizza. More pizza. Scacciata cantonese. This is just another type of stuffed semolina, Italian semolina bread that's stuffed. I'm sorry, it's Sicilian. This is I didn't do a great job on it because it's burnt, but this is a Florida bread for Pinky. This is the bread that they make. This is a Cuban bread that they use to make those sandwiches. What do they call those sandwiches again down in Florida? What do they call those? They like smash them and they're crunchy. Why can't I think of that word right now? It's one of the greatest sandwiches ever. And they're like Cuban. They have ham and pickle and mustard in them and some cheese. It's usually like Swiss cheese, ham, pickle, and mustard. And then the bread's really crispy. And yeah, what are those called? What are those sandwiches? Either way, that's the bread for it. And so yeah, I made those. Gosh, I don't know. And yeah, actually, I think we're down to like the beginning of me making bread. Perhaps it because my whole goal was to finally just make an airy light bread. Oftentimes, when you turn something that is fun into the business, you no longer find it fun. Exactly. People keep telling me like, why don't you cook for a living? And it's like, well, I don't want to hate food. And you can call that an excuse, I guess, but it's maybe it's just like the pipe dream of capitalism, medianoche. Medianoche? Midnight? Really? Okay. I feel like there's a different name for it. What's the sandwich called? Is it just a torta? Torta cubana? It's a torta. Isn't it just a torta? A sandwich at midnight sounds amazing. I think it's just called a torta. So yeah, Chuck E. Cheese is a rat casino. And yeah, drinks anyone? Okay. Man, oh man, Cuban food. Woo! That's pan con bistec. I like vieja ropa. And anything with plantain fries, vieja ropa. What are the other great Cuban dishes? There's so many. Gosh, I had a Cuban girlfriend who lived in Miami, and we'd go over to her grandma's house, and she'd make us food from scratch. And honestly, it's probably top 20 meals I've ever had in my life or with that woman. She's like 80, and just we had tostones, and she'd make vieja ropa. She'd also do like just fried, like almost like a wiener schnitzel, like this fried thin meat that was really good. And then her beans would just stop the earth. And yeah, Cuban food is one of the most hypnotic cuisines in the planet. If you ever get a chance, anybody listening to this ever get a chance to go eat Cuban food, go right now. Do not stop. I remember there was a Cuban restaurant in town that made a torta that had 8 different types of pork in it. 8. Where am I? There's 8. Where's 8? Whatever. And 8. It had like ham, salami, pulled pork. And it's like, who in their right mind is going to do an 8 types of pork sandwich? Cubans. Cubans are going to do that. And they're going to blow your mind. And I would recommend anybody get a chance, go to a Cuban restaurant. Absolutely delicious. Unbelievable food. But yeah, for the most part, there's Miss Violet. And here's me sleeping with Ivan. The old pity. Catching some Z's. Yeah. Puerto Rico and Nicaragua. Wow. Puerto Rican food ain't no joke either, man. And Nicaraguan food, I'll admit, I've never been to a Nicaraguan restaurant. I'd probably have to go to Nicaragua to check out what they're all about, but I bet it's freaking amazing. I know I did try some sour cream from Nicaragua. I bought at the World Market, and that was amazing. It's like Latin America, Central America really has got the sour cream game on lockdown. It's some of the best sour cream on the planet. Cow tongue is Nicaraguan good? I bet. I bet. What you say about oftentimes when you turn something into business, it's no longer kind of fun. Oh, that's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm going to delete that. And that's pretty much it. That's my bread journey. But you know what Dolly says? It's okay, Granny. We're just having fun here, and I just wanted to say hi to everyone. It's been a while, and you know, things are just good at the farm. We're doing as best as we can and coping as best as we can, and we're hoping for better days for everyone out here all the time. And let's see, we do a check-in on the dogs, huh? So plans for Thanksgiving. What we do for Thanksgiving is we're not very traditional as far as celebrating holidays. We don't have kids, and green bean casserole, dang. We just figured, like, instead of me making like a bunch of carbs here, what we like to do is Indian Thanksgiving. So we go to an Indian restaurant and just carb out there and just chow down on Indian food, like crazy chow down, and just overeat until we're dead. Yeah. I mean, it's like, who figured out carbs like 500 years ago? I would say the country that is primarily vegetarian, and that works. And then we do what's some people refer to for Christmas. We do what some people refer to as Jewish Christmas. And what Jewish Christmas is on Christmas Eve you go out and get Chinese food, and so that's how we celebrate that. So then I just don't have to cook because it's a holiday. I'd rather not cook on a holiday. And Chinese food is succulent and quite delicious. So that's how we roll on Thanksgiving and Christmas. What plans do you guys have? Yeah, exactly. Whatever gives it meaning. And if the meaning is to celebrate the feast of the harvest, an Indian buffet would do that. And you want to know what's even crazier? I'm not the only one with this idea. Every time we go do it, the Indian restaurants are just jammed on Thanksgiving, just jammed with people. So not even necessarily an original plan. But yeah, your mom makes a bunch of food usually. So is this the Puerto Rican side of your family, or the Nicaraguan side of your family, Pinky? Right. Well, that's cool. I mean, no one's gonna knock. I'm never gonna knock anyone for having a standard Thanksgiving. It's delicious. It's delicious. But it's like, where do you go on Thanksgiving to eat Thanksgiving food other than like someone's house? So it's like, and the whole goal is for me not to cook. You know, it's like, well, what do you do? Because then a lot of places are in fact closed, and it's like, well, we go to a place you go where the culture doesn't celebrate that holiday, and Indian people don't really seem to care about Thanksgiving very much. Puerto Rican Thanksgiving must be so good. You like mofongo? Pineapple ham, sweet potato, potatoes, turkey. Your green bean casserole. Yeah, Chinese food is always good. it's it's like, why does Chinese food have to be so damn delicious? That was One of my favorite comedians had this whole routine on like Chinese people are so mean to us, but at the same time, why does their food have to be so damn delicious? It's just like, oh, and he's right. It's well, I mean, they're not mean necessarily. I think he's just being funny, but gosh, Chinese food is so good. Mofongo is great, but so your mom does more of like a classic Thanksgiving. Does she? There's not like some a dish with like some heritage. You know what I mean? Like mofongo. Like she's not making mofongo on Thanksgiving. They are stern people sometimes. Sure. Oh yeah. I mean, I've had friends working at sushi restaurants who've had knives thrown at them from like across the room. So, and that's no joke. And like literally sushi chefs know like how to throw the knife so the blade isn't going to hit you. And that was apparently like my friend used to just get pelted from like across the restaurant by like seriously sharp knives. I bet your mom's mofongo is amazing. Props to your mom, dude. Oh, I was in Chicago. Right across the street from my friend's house was this Puerto Rican restaurant. We would go over there and the chicharron and mofongo and pretty much everything. Just sort of like Cuban food, just sort of stop the rotation of the earth while we were in there. Mofongo is pork skin. It's only like 5 things. It's like pork skin, yuca, or is it plantains and onions and garlic, I think, and then it's just mashed up like a mashed potato. And it is super good. Yeah, it's smashed with a mortar and pestle, and it's plantains that are fried. Or cassava and well, that's the same thing. A sweet potato, usually boiled and then flash fried. Plantains can also be made in this method or roasted before flash frying. And then you can either have bacon inside of it or pork crackling. And it's traditionally served with fried meat and a chicken broth soup. And okay, see you next week. So, hey, Granny and everyone, is Saturday a good day for a live stream? Thanks, Granny. You have a great day too. Okay, I'll set one up for next Saturday, probably when I get off this stream, so it'll just sit for a while and everyone can see it. And maybe this is just a good time. It's been an hour 45 minutes, and I really appreciate you guys coming around to say hi and to just hang out. And thanks for putting up with my blathering. I know I was just showing off bread for most of it, but what else are you gonna do on a Saturday? Thanks, Granny. You're the best. Saturday's good, Bassett Trio. Thank you. I will do Saturday. Saturday for Will Hudson. Will, I appreciate you too. Thanks for coming by. It's always a pleasure. Pinky, you're the greatest. Bassett Trio, you're the greatest. Granny Paula, you're the greatest. And then the other people that aren't talking, you're the greatest. So thanks so much. Is noon a good time? Noon, just like this? Like noon, I think I'm in the central time zone. And yeah, love life, everybody, and try to make other people happy and be as cool as possible to everyone you know. How's that sound for closing out? Is it good? Right on, Will. Well, I'll put a little bit more thought into how we're going to do this. I was just going to like work on editing while we chatted, but this was way funner. I'll tell you that. So I'll try to have more of a plan. And I'll work on trying to live stream with my other cameras. So this is the camera I usually, these are the cameras I usually use to shoot the episodes. And they do have a live streaming function on them. So I'll work on that. And maybe we can do like something over by the kitchen, or we can talk about food more. I will join even if it was 3 a.m. I have insomnia anyway. Oh, buddy. For 15 years, I didn't sleep for more than 4 hours at a time. But at that time, for most of it, I was running a company, so I couldn't sleep. And it was a company that was in operation 24 hours a day. So, yeah, I used to do that too. But I guess my whole point in bringing it up is I was able to overcome it by quitting caffeine. Yeah, I worked third shift for about 3 years too. It stunk. I hated it. But if someone has insomnia, I'm always going to recommend that they quit caffeine. It honestly reset my entire body, and I could sleep again. And now I sleep like 6 to 8 hours at a given time. Caffeine is the hardest. Like, I quit smoking about 4 years ago, cigarettes, and that was easy compared to caffeine. Let's put it that way. Quitting cigarettes was easy compared to caffeine, but people have been putting caffeine in handing me caffeine for since I've been 5. So it's my entire life. I probably get caffeine headaches now. I didn't even notice it. And all caffeine does, all it does to your body is it does to your body is dehydrate you. And then all it does to your brain is tell you, I'm not tired. It's not giving you anything. People always say it gives me energy. It's like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't give you anything. It's just dehydrating you and wearing you out. So Bassett Trio, if you've got it in you, I recommend it. If you haven't yet, quit caffeine. And if you need help with it, there's a subreddit on Reddit called Caffeine Free Life. And most people, detoxing from caffeine takes about 9 days. For me, it took 3 months, and it messed me up. And but boy, it was literally like my brain got a system update. Like I had to think different and all that. Latinos always drink it young. Honey, you and me both. But I guess I'll just close it off there that caffeine is not a good thing for people to be putting in their body. Yeah, I mean, I was just soda. They were just giving us like Cokes when we were like 5, Cokes and Mountain Dew when I was like 5. And I remember even then, like, parents were still really wary about soda and for kids, but these days it doesn't seem like anybody cares. It's just common. The other thing was like Gatorade too. Like, Gatorade isn't supposed to taste like that. Mountain Dew, buddy. Whew, that was the family soda. And I'm also in Tennessee, the home of Mountain Dew. And I've actually been to a Mountain Dew museum in Wartrace, Tennessee? Or is it Pulaski, Tennessee? Pulaski is where the Ku Klux Klan was founded. And I'm pretty sure it was Pulaski. And there was I was in there doing something for a video. We were shooting some country video. And there was like a general store. And attached to the general store was the 4th largest Mountain Dew museum in the world. And it was just all this old Mountain Dew crap. And there's like an old hillbilly looking yokel guy that used to be the spokes character. Dr. Pepper ain't bad, man. I like that Dr. P too, but not for me anymore. I'm not even drinking soda anymore. I don't even drink it just messes my body up. But yeah, Dr. Pepper, dude, that's so good. And what's my kidney stones? Oof. Sorry, girl. But well, keep in mind what Dolly's saying over there. And it was great talking to you guys again. I'll set up another live chat for Saturday at noon, and tell your friends. And keep watching. Use ad blocks when you watch my videos. And goodbye. I had a great time. Will, you're awesome. Pinky, you're awesome. Bassett Trio, you're always awesome. And Granny Paula, you're always awesome. And to the other people out there who didn't chime in, maybe you can do it next time. And be cool as possible to everyone you know, everyone. Take care.